In upstate New York, nestled along the Genesee River, lies the city of Rochester, a place where the winters are cold, but the music is always warm and alive. Rochester's vibrant jazz scene in the 1950s and 60s was a melting pot of sound and creativity, and it was here that a young Chuck Mangione found his calling. His father, a passionate jazz enthusiast, would take Chuck and his brother Gap to see the greats, Dizzy Gillespie, Miles Davis, and other legends, turning every concert into a lesson in both music and life. Dizzy Gillespie, with his infectious energy and generosity, soon became more than just a hero to the Mangione family. He became a close friend and a guiding mentor. One unforgettable day, Dizzy gifted Chuck his very first Dizzy model trumpet, a gesture that was more than a present. It was a symbolic passing of the torch from one generation to the next. The Mangione home was always alive with music, filled with the sounds of laughter, improvisation, and the constant hum of creativity. In their living room, jazz wasn't just something to listen to. It was something to experience, to share, and to celebrate together as a family. Chuck learned early on that jazz was more than just a series of notes on a page. It was a living, breathing language that spoke directly to the soul. Through every performance, he discovered that jazz was a language of feeling, of connection, and of unspoken understanding between musicians and their audience. Rochester's thriving music scene, combined with the unwavering encouragement of his family, nurtured Chuck's talent and gave him the confidence to dream big. The flugelhorn, with its warm, mellow tone, soon became Chuck's signature voice, an instrument that perfectly matched his expressive style and heartfelt melodies. Chuck's music would go on to blend sophistication with soul, joy with accessibility, creating a sound that resonated with listeners from all walks of life. From the very beginning, it was clear. Chuck Mangione was destined to make people feel something real, something lasting every time he played. The city of Rochester, the love of his family, and the power of music all came together to set the stage for a truly remarkable journey. With trumpet in hand and a heart full of dreams, Chuck Mangione was ready to add his own unforgettable chapter to the ever-evolving story of jazz. For Chuck, the journey was just beginning, and the world was about to listen. Chuck's path led him to the Eastman School of Music in Rochester, a place where discipline met creativity. There, he refined his talent, learning the rules of classical music so he could bend them in jazz. His brother Gap joined him, and together they developed a unique musical chemistry. Their collaboration at Eastman forged the Mangione sound, blending structure with improvisation. Chuck studied composition and orchestration, giving his music elegance and depth. The brothers pushed and inspired each other, building a shared musical language. Eastman was more than education. It was a crucible for creativity. Chuck emerged not just as a student, but as an artist with a vision. Family support, mentorship, and formal training combined to launch his career. The foundation was set for Chuck to take Rochester's sound to the world. The next stage awaited. Chuck and Gap Mangione formed the Jazz Brothers while still at Eastman, quickly becoming a sensation in Rochester. Their hard bop quintet was energetic, soulful, and rooted in the blues. The band's chemistry and youthful fire caught the attention of Riverside Records. They released 3 albums, capturing the raw excitement of their live performances. Chuck's solos were melodic and mature, hinting at his emerging voice. The Jazz Brothers was more than a band. It was a training ground for leadership and creativity. Chuck learned to arrange, lead, and connect with audiences. Though short-lived, the group's impact was profound. It marked the Mangione Brothers as serious contenders in jazz. The experience propelled Chuck from local clubs to the international stage. The first step on a remarkable journey was complete. Chuck's next apprenticeship came with Art Blakey's Jazz Messengers, a legendary proving ground for jazz talent. Joining in 1965, he stepped into a role once held by trumpet greats, facing immense pressure and opportunity. Nightly performances with Blakey pushed Chuck to new heights, demanding skill and creativity. Here, he truly found his voice, crafting solos that were both powerful and melodic. Touring and recording with the Messengers exposed him to a global audience. The experience taught him endurance, artistry, and the deep connection forged on stage. By the time he left, Chuck was a seasoned professional, ready to lead. The Jazz Messengers had been his final apprenticeship. Now, he was prepared to step out as a leader in his own right. The next chapter was about to begin. In the early 1970s, Chuck Mangione made a bold artistic shift, moving away from the hard bop jazz that had defined his early career. He began to explore a more melodic, accessible sound, one that would resonate with a much wider audience. This new approach was not just a change in style, it was a reinvention, a way for Mangione to connect with listeners on a deeper, more emotional level. Leading his own quartet, Mangione started blending jazz with pop and classical influences, creating a unique fusion that stood out in the music scene. His band became known for their dynamic performances and their ability to seamlessly weave together different genres, making jazz feel fresh and exciting for a new generation. This creative journey reached its peak with the release of the 1977 album Feels So Good. The album was a culmination of Mangione's vision, a perfect blend of catchy melodies, lush arrangements, and heartfelt musicianship. The title track, with its unforgettable flugelhorn melody, quickly became an instant classic. Its soaring, joyful sound captured the spirit of the era and showcased Mangione's gift for crafting tunes that lingered in the mind long after the music stopped. Mangione was determined to release the full version of the song, insisting on including Grant Geissman's now iconic guitar solo. This decision gave the track a sense of spontaneity and energy that set it apart from other jazz recordings of the time. Against all odds, Feels So Good defied expectations, climbing all the way to number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was rare for an instrumental jazz track to achieve such mainstream success, but Mangione's music had a universal appeal. The album went on to sell over 2 million copies, turning Chuck Mangione into a household name and making Feels So Good a staple in record collections across America. Mangione's warm, expressive flugelhorn sound became one of the defining musical signatures of the late 1970s, crossing over from jazz clubs into the mainstream and even pop radio. For many listeners, Feels So Good was their first introduction to jazz. The song served as a gateway, inviting millions to discover the richness and diversity of the genre. Chuck Mangione became an ambassador for jazz, showing the world that instrumental music could be both catchy and deeply emotional. His success inspired countless musicians and helped bring jazz to a broader audience. Feels So Good was more than just a hit single. It was a cultural moment, a song that captured the optimism and energy of its time. It became a soundtrack for celebrations, gatherings, and everyday life. The music simply made people feel good, offering a sense of joy and comfort during complicated times. Its uplifting spirit brought people together, reminding them of the power of music to heal and inspire. With Feels So Good, Chuck Mangione had truly found his voice, and the world was listening, embracing his music as a timeless celebration of feeling good. The runaway success of Feels So Good launched a golden era for Chuck Mangione, catapulting him into the spotlight and forever changing the landscape of jazz fusion. Suddenly, Mangione was not just a jazz musician, he was a household name, his melodies echoing on radio stations and in living rooms across America. Riding this wave of popularity, he released a string of hit albums, including The Ambitious Children of Sanchez and the electrifying An Evening of Magic. Both records achieved gold and platinum status, cementing his place among music's elite and proving that jazz could reach the masses. Mangione's concerts became must-see events, selling out massive arenas, a rare and remarkable feat for a jazz instrumentalist. Fans from all walks of life flocked to see him perform, drawn by his infectious energy and the universal appeal of his music. His artistry was recognized at the highest level. Mangione won his first Grammy in 1977 for Bellavia, a heartfelt tribute to his family, and another in 1979 for the Sweeping Children of Sanchez soundtrack, which showcased his ability to blend emotion and innovation. The Children of Sanchez project in particular highlighted his extraordinary talent as both a composer and a storyteller. Mangione seamlessly blended jazz with Latin rhythms, creating a soundscape that was both fresh and deeply moving. The title track became another signature piece, earning critical acclaim and further establishing Mangione as a visionary in contemporary jazz. This period marked the culmination of years of relentless growth, experimentation, and dedication to his craft. Mangione's journey from a young musician in Rochester to an international star was a testament to his passion and perseverance. Chuck's unique voice, expressed through his warm flugelhorn, resonated with millions. He brought the instrument into the mainstream, inspiring countless young musicians and changing the way audiences experienced jazz. He became a Grammy-winning, platinum-selling artist, without ever compromising his artistry or the integrity of his music. Mangione's success proved that commercial appeal and creative authenticity could go hand in hand. At the summit of his career, Chuck Mangione was more than a musician. He was a pop culture phenomenon. His influence felt far beyond the world of jazz. In 1980, Chuck Mangione's music reached a global audience at the Winter Olympics in Lake Placid. Commissioned to compose a theme, he created Give It All You Got, an energetic anthem capturing the Olympic spirit. The song became the unofficial soundtrack of the Games, played during ceremonies and broadcasts worldwide. Mangione's flugelhorn became synonymous with Olympic triumph and unity. His performance at the closing ceremony was iconic. A jazz musician from Rochester on the world stage, Give It All You Got became a motivational anthem, inspiring a new generation. Chuck proved that a jazz melody could unite millions. His music had become the voice of a global celebration. Even after his chart-topping years, Chuck Mangione remained a beloved figure. His music and persona, hat, flugelhorn, joyful sound, became iconic, leading to memorable appearances in pop culture. On King of the Hill, he played a fictionalized version of himself, introducing his music to new fans with humor and charm. Mangione embraced his pop culture status, composing new music for the show and endearing himself to audiences. He continued to perform and record, returning to his jazz roots while exploring his signature style. The loss of longtime friend Jerry Niewood in 2009 led Chuck to slow down, focusing on life in Rochester. Honored by his hometown and cherished by fans, his influence endured. Chuck Mangione's later years were a testament to a life lived in music and joy. Chuck Mangione's legacy is one of melody, joy, and honesty. He believed in playing what he felt, making music a direct expression of emotion. Mangione built a bridge between jazz and pop, making instrumental music accessible to millions. For many, his records were their first introduction to jazz. He demystified the genre, replacing complexity with pure joy. The flugelhorn became his voice, warm, lyrical, instantly recognizable. His sound is woven into our lives, from radio to the Olympics to cartoons. Chuck's music connected deeply, always aiming to communicate a feeling. Whether triumphant or serene, his songs shared a piece of his heart. His journey from Rochester to global icon proves the power of staying true to one's voice. Chuck Mangione's legacy will continue to feel so good for generations.